The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewell. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle, where you can access your full potential right now. Finally break free from destructive habits. That dream life, if you want it, you can have it. This is where you transform your health, mind, business, and relationships. Or do nothing and keep your life the way it is. But if you're ready for change, you're in the right place. This is where you're gonna learn how to live a habit-based lifestyle. You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewell. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and I am a husband, father, entrepreneur, trainer, coach, and warrior. On this week's episode, we're talking about your future. Yes, that's right. Specifically, your future map. Now, last episode, we talked about your foundation, standing on a solid foundation of where you are today, so we can begin to create for the future. How do you build? How do you create for the future? You see, the first thing you must understand in all of this is you have to know exactly where you are today, which, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, go back to last episode, listen to the replay. I'm not going to go through it again, but what I am going to say is this. You have to have a solid foundation. You have to have facts of where I am today in order for you to build for the future. And this future specifically is 2019. As I'm recording this episode, 2019 is less than 3 weeks away. The holidays are here. The stress, the anxiety, the worry, and having to have this idea of this perfect Christmas or this perfect experience. If you have kids and they're younger, you'll know what I mean. But there's a lot of pressure that comes with this. But here's the thing, 2019 isn't waiting for you, anyone else, or your future. It's going to come with or without you. So I want to introduce you to something new, something that's going to get you to look at this next year differently. And it's something I learned way back 15 years ago when I was a personal trainer, when I had someone who gave a shit about me, show me how to actually set goals and how to actually pull them off. You see, I had an owner of a gym that I worked for. And one of the things that we did every year that I worked there, once you get up into management, is he would teach us these principles of Think and Grow Rich. If you guys haven't read the book, read the book. But one of the key things I remember in this was call those things which be not as if they are. And this is a biblical teaching, biblical principle. But in other words, have a vision for your future, even if you cannot see it today. Even if you don't know how you're going to get there, how you're going to pull it off, it all starts with having this vision of the future. Vision starts in your heart, not your head. And a lot of people, I think, miss out on this, is they have this vision in their head, but until you have a vision in your heart, you're not going to be able to see it. Now, I remember this one year, 3 main goals that I had set. The first goal I set was to sell $100,000 in training for the year for the gym that I had worked for. What this actually got me was a $10,000 bonus for the year, which back then, at 25 years old, that was a lot of money to get at one time. My next goal was to buy my wife, my girlfriend at the time, a wedding ring with the money that I had gotten. And then I had one more goal. As you see, I had never owned a brand new car. I had never owned is what I would call a nice car. But I wanted back then a Chevy Tahoe so bad that it was white and it had 22-inch rims. Like literally I had everything envisioned of what I wanted. And so as I set these goals and I set out on this vision of what I wanted, I let nothing stand in my way. I let nothing get in my way. And I even actually risked not being promoted to head fitness director just so I could stay on track with my money, just so I could stay on track with the money I was making, this $100,000 just to get my $10,000 bonus. I remember sitting in a meeting with some of my other managers, and they sat there and said, hey, we're going to promote you to fitness director. And my first thing was, well, that's great, but do I still get my bonus if I hit $100,000? And they said, no, you're going to get paid more, so you're not going to be able to get this bonus. And I said, well, I don't want the position. And they said, well, what are you talking about? You're going to make more money. And I said, I realize that, but I set a goal at the beginning of the year to hit this $100,000 bonus just so I could get a $10,000 bonus so I could buy my girlfriend a ring and ask her to marry me. That's how focused I was on this. And later on, they would come back and they would say, listen, like, we know this is important to you, so we will actually promote you to this position. And on top of it, if you still hit the $100,000, you can have your bonus. And so I agreed. But what I want you to see in this was I was committed. I was committed to turn down another opportunity just because I knew what I wanted. And I remember the feelings I had that year after I accomplished all of these things. I felt proud. I was excited. I had a lot of joy. I felt loving, passionate, and I just felt committed. And I focused on the stories that I didn't deserve the bonus at first. I didn't deserve the truck. I didn't deserve the woman to get engaged. And when I began to focus on new stories that I actually did not deserve it, but I actually earned it. You see, I earned every bit of it because I did the work required to get the result that I actually wanted. I did the work to get my bonus. From that bonus, I did the work with my girlfriend at the time to get engaged. And I also did the work to put a down payment on a truck so I could actually get it. You see, the facts were I was working my ass off to accomplish these things. And at the same time, I was eliminating the things and the people in my life that were not serving me. And there's things in your life, people, patterns, habits that do not serve you. Are you willing to let those go? Are you willing to let them go? And they may be true. Like some of the stories were true. Like I lived in this weird world that I didn't deserve to make more money. But at the same time, as I began to say, it's not about deserve or not deserve. It's about earn. Did I earn it? And I could stand back and say, yes, I did. I also realized I had to learn new skill sets and mindsets specifically around my craft, which was either selling training, fulfilling on this training, or marketing to new customers and new people. And I began investing in myself in outside training and continuing education. I hired a coach. I hired someone to actually help me as a trainer. I also hired other people, other kids to hand out flyers, to communicate with other customers and people. And then I had an owner who was like a mentor who taught me these things. All of these things added up into my results. And yet I didn't know at the time, but after learning how to create and build for the future, these were the key things that I did. So here's the question for you. What do you actually want your life to look like at the end of 2019 inside of your body, your being, your balance, your business? These core 4 concepts that we've talked about several times on this podcast. These core habits, these core things that make up who we are. Think about this. What feelings will you have when you accomplish in your body, in your being, your spirituality? What feelings will you have when you begin to change your marriage and your relationship with your kids? What feelings will you have when you actually start making the money that you earned not deserve, but earn to make in 2019? What stories and beliefs will have to change inside those areas in order for you to pull this off? And then what things will you have to learn and leverage to maximize each area of your life? Now, believe me when I say this, like answering these questions from a solid foundation may take a few hours. They may take some time, but they are very important for you to create success in your life. Now, my only advice for you is this. You're listening to this podcast, and you're like, man, you make it sound so simple. What you put into your future, what you put into mapping out your future is exactly what you're going to get out of it. So if you don't like your results in 2018, it's simply because you didn't take the time at the beginning of 2018 or the end of 2017 to simply look at the facts of your life and where you're at. But you have a new opportunity this year. Who do you want to become and be at the end of 2019, literally 1 year from today? Do you see a vision for this man, this woman? Just sitting there in silence and thinking about these will guide you to this brand new identity, this new person that you want to become. Now, stay tuned because for the next episode, we're going to discuss this gap. This gap is in between this foundation of where we are today and then this future, which is what we've talked about today, this future of where I want to go at the end of 2019 and where I want to be. And what actually happens is we create this gap. And this gap begins to open up things that I must work on in order to pull this off, because the man I am today is not the same man I'll be at the end of 2019. The man I am today cannot pull these things off that I want in my future, that I see in my future. So there's an opportunity for you to work on this. 1 hour, write down these questions, fill them out, and sit in a quiet place and meditate on them. See a clear vision for yourself in 2019. Now, if you find value in this show, I'd love for you to leave a review. Shoot me an email if you have any questions. I would love to learn more about you. If you want to learn more about habit-based lifestyle, you can check out my website, habitbasedlifestyle.com. You can also email me at jesse@habitbasedlifestyle.com. I will be back with the next episode, and we're going to be talking about the gap. Until then, have a great day.
The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewell.